It was a plot twist. I was blown away. I was shook. Hi guys, it's Mo from Mo Reads It, and today we're doing our first Illumicrate book talk, This Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi. So I love to do these Illumicrate book talks to actually see, is the book that I'm getting in my book boxes my personal reading taste, and to share my thoughts with you guys to know if you want to buy the book box or not, because they're pretty expensive and it kind of sucks if you buy a book box but you don't actually like the book that comes in the book box. So today we're talking about This Woven Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi, and right off the bat, this was my first 5-star read of 2022. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. This is the Illumicrate exclusive edition. It has an exclusive cover along with these lovely end pages. And like all Illumicrate books, it is signed by the author. And this one just so happens to have lovely sprayed edges. It is intricate, it is well designed, it is decadent. I love this book. It looks so beautiful. I'm happy that Illumicrate created this exclusive edition because it is gorgeous. The chapter markers are decoratively designed with foliage, and it is just a gorgeous book. So I received the Illumicrate book box for January last week. I opened it up on Friday. I read the book Friday, Saturday, and I finished it Sunday. This book is so good. My only pet peeve is the gold foiling is coming off on the book. The gold and silver foiling is coming off on the book. You can see here on the sides where you would naturally hold your hand on the book, the gold foiling has lifted and is gone in some parts and translucent in others. Same thing with the back. And a little bit on the spine. I originally found this extremely disappointing for Illumicrate because this was their special edition, exclusive edition book, and it's only been 3 days, and my hand, just like I think me touching it with my hands and reading the book, has already removed a lot of the stenciled gold foil edges. And when you buy an exclusive book, or an exclusive book comes in a book box, you expect that this is a book that you will be able to cherish for years. It's going to be beautiful on your bookshelf. You expect a higher quality. It's only been 3 days and this book is already pretty much disintegrating as far as the design on the cover goes, which makes me feel like if I were to be someone who avidly loves this book and rereads it, which I probably will reread the book when the second book comes out to jog my memory, I won't be able to, because after holding this book for only 2 days with the foiling coming off, if I were to actually hold this book and read it over and over again, this whole book would probably just be a blue cover, a regular blue naked back book. And that was very disappointing for me. It doesn't change the fact that the story inside the book is very good, so I will be buying the hard copy edition from Barnes & Noble. This is the original cover. It is also a gorgeous cover, but this one far more meets my taste and style in like a novel. I love a beautiful naked hardback. I think most book readers do. It's just different. It's cool. Gold foiling, silver foiling. We like those things. But it's not, it won't be able to stay on my bookshelf and stand me rereading it over and over again. Oh yeah, I also want to talk about the pages of this book. I feel like the paper they used and the ink quality they used in the book was very high quality. Typically with new books, some of the ink smells so strongly when you're reading it, it kind of gives you a headache. I don't know if this is just a me thing. Has that ever happened to you guys reading a new novel? Honestly, I typically read most of my books from the library because books are expensive. Because I don't want to buy a book that I don't know if I'm going to love or not, and I really just buy books I know I'm going to reread over and over again if I want to physically annotate the book, or if it's a book that I think I'm probably going to love because I know the work of the author. So I rarely ever have to smell the strong scent of a freshly printed book. This one did not give me a headache. It smelled fine. It does have that new book scent, but it wasn't overwhelming, and I really enjoyed the strong binding on the book as well. It has this very nice binding on it, so when I was reading it, I felt like I didn't have to work hard on protecting the spine protected itself. I love how it has this blank little page at the end. I will be putting like a little index card there and putting my review as well as the stars I gave it as a memento of my first read of this book. If you're interested in seeing what else is in my Illumicrate box for January, be sure to check out that video. But This Woven Kingdom came paired with the Ivory Key as well. Since This Woven Kingdom was so good, I'm actually excited to pick up the Ivory Key after This Woven Kingdom. But now let's actually get in. What is this book actually about? Clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-forgotten queen destined to save her people. To all the world, Alizea is a disposable servant, not the long-lost heir to an ancient Jinn kingdom, forced to hide in plain sight. The crown prince, Kamran, has heard the prophecies foretelling the death of his king, but he could never have imagined that the servant girl with strange eyes, the girl he couldn't put out of his mind, would one day soon uproot his kingdom and the world. The book is lovely. It is written in third person and is actually very interesting to read. This Woven Kingdom is based off of Persian mythology, but it actually has kind of like a Cinderella story. She is a servant girl being treated cruelly. He is a prince. They have a ball. She has to be gone by midnight. So it kind of has Cinderella-esque vibes. But I know nothing about Persian mythology, so I would actually really want to read the original or watch a movie or something about the original Persian mythology that inspired this book. This is a YA fantasy, a trilogy, so I look forward to having 2 more books in the series because I need to know what happens. We left off on such a cliffhanger spoiler that I'm still reeling from last night after reading it. It is 500 pages of somewhat of a slow, medium pace plot burn, so I feel like it is a slow burn romance in a way, but I feel like it's mostly like the plot and the need to know what's happening. It's not even suspense, it's more of like an eagerness to continue on with the story from my personal point of view. And I really liked it. I feel like that's what made it not a side piece romance, but a true balanced story. And I feel like this book is actually mostly doing the staging for book 2 and 3. I feel like book 2 and 3 are going to blow up and just bring us with all the feels and all the moods and leave us reeling like we never were before. There's just a lot of scene setting and character establishment that I feel like book 2 is going to really take us on a deeper journey, because now we know who these people are. We know them, they're in and outs, and the next book we get should be, I believe, an adventure. But this was a good adventure to go on. It was pretty good for me. This is my first book by Tahereh Mafi. It does make me want to read the Shatter series since this book was so lovely and decadent. Her prose is interesting. At first, it took me a while to get used to her writing style, but once you got used to it, it was a lovely book to read. As far as the scenery in this book goes, I found it very interesting that the scenery was very video game-esque. Like, it had oddly colored trees and interesting fruit and food, and some of it represented our real life, but neon pink trees, which I thought was very interesting and cool. It definitely reminded me of like a video game or an ethereal Disney Pixar movie, which Disney Pixar, if you're watching this, make this into a movie, please. I think it would be a beautiful movie. I think it would be a beautiful movie to be adapted to screen. I think it should be animated. Please do not do that live action stuff, because we've had a few fails. They're epic too. Epic fails. People are scarred from life based off of those fails. Anyway, let's give this to the animators. I think it was a really good book. I can definitely see myself wanting to fight for Kamran, even though, honestly, I feel like this is going to be kind of like a Tamlin Rhysand story. Like, Feyre in book 1, if you haven't read ACOTAR, this is going to be major spoilers. Bleep out now. Love ya.
Spoiler alert. Beep out now if you don't want spoilers for ACOTAR, aka A Court of Thorn and Roses. You have been warned.
Feyre loved Tamlin in the first book. Didn't really know what love was. She didn't really get it. It was her first, like, interaction with love and pleasure and joy and finding herself. And that kind of trickled away, realized it was not the best relationship for her. And a new relationship popped up with Rhysand. And even though I do have my problems with Rhysand, he kind of stole the show, and Feyre too. And they fell in love and lived happily ever after. And I think this is what this story is going to be like. It definitely has those vibes. I can see myself fighting for Cameron, but he does have this annoying princeliness that is somewhat obnoxious. He's kind of the obnoxious prince, and he doesn't realize basic life things because he's a prince. Like, he doesn't get that she's poor. He doesn't understand why she wears her Sedona in public, like, or why she's treated badly. And it's really annoying. It's very arrogantly princely. It's very sheltered. It screams daddy's money. Yep, it really screams that. So while Alize is selfless, pure, confident, elegant, she's very pure and refined. He is more big-hearted, fluffy, and somewhat childlike in his mentality of the world, but also arrogant and princely and a bit cruel, like, even to people he considered his friends, like Hansen. And I found that very interesting. Also, I found interesting is that both of these characters don't really have real friends. Cameron has Hansen, which is his minister, but he's really his friend by force. Like, we are friends mostly out of obligation, not out of love and careful building of friendship bonds. And the same thing with Alize. She doesn't really have anyone. She doesn't have fake friends. She doesn't have real friends. She has nobody. And she has this somewhat social word vomit sometimes, like, because she doesn't talk to anyone. So when she is finally free to express herself to another human being, she has this word vomit of just very thought-provoking things, and she becomes a little bit socially awkward because she realizes she does too much and she can't let people know who she really is. And it's very interesting, the two social dynamics that both these characters come from, and the point of view of reading about each of them from both of them. So yes, I do believe that our Tululian king is going to win the hearts of Alize, and they're gonna have a happily ever after. But who knows, maybe Cameron will step up to the plate. He will get rid of his princely, arrogant, not knowing that the children of his community are being eaten by his grandfather. Can we talk about that though? I really thought the devil's riddle at the beginning of the book was just like an imagery, a metaphor. I did not think this man was going to come out with 2 snakes on his shoulder. Did not expect that. It was a plot twist. I was blown away. I was shooketh. And when he was like, "You don't know what I've done for you, grandson, blah, 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 blah," I now know what he did for him. He made the deal with the devil. And that is disappointing. And you know what? I actually think he made the deal with the devil. I think he made the deal with the devil when Cameron committed suicide and pitched himself into the water after discovering his father's dead body, which I'm still mad that no one thought to take him aside and give him the bad news. I think it is traumatic and atrocious for someone to discover the body of their dead parent at such a young age. I too have lost my father. I was not the one to discover him. My sister was the one to discover him, and he wasn't dead when she discovered him, but he didn't make it. And to this day, I think it's just a traumatic thing for anyone to discover anybody's body. So for him to be like this child discovering his father's body, it is very traumatic. Which puts me on to our next point. We talked about a lot of deep subjects in this book, like suicide and somewhat of a numbing anger, depression. While also talking with Alize, she's trying to ignore her pain and her suffering and deal with it later, probably because she's deadbeat exhausted. She is worked to, like, the bone, to the nub of her fingers. She is worked. So I can get wanting to, like, put off your problems for later, because, like, if I have to clean 200 rooms and scrub every floor and clean every bathroom and do this all within 24 hours, I too would not want to deal with my own personal problems. I have bigger problems to deal with, because I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be in the winter in the streets in the cold suffering because I couldn't clean all 230 something rooms in time. So I get that. I felt like this was very interesting, and I do like that this is a YA novel and it handled all of these delicate subjects nicely. I thought it was very I thought it was very nicely done, especially since it was written in third person. I typically don't care for things that are written in third person, but it didn't bother me after the first chapter. I had gotten used to it, and I was so compelled into the story, it just flowed naturally for me. But yeah, Grandpa's really creepy. I always wondered what was happening with the grandfather, because since he acted odd towards the child that he so-called loves. But I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. And also, Cameron's little gold tattoo thing, I don't know if it's like an imagery or if it's like something deeper, but he is literally the opposite of Alize. While she has ice in her blood and in her eyes, he has this molten golden lava warmth in him, this fire, which is so interestingly cool. He is literally her complement of opposite, fire and ice. And I found this very interesting because this actually makes me theorize that she will eventually fall in love with the Tulian King, then actually pick Cameron in the end because he is her complement. They balance each other out. And yeah. So many thoughts. Reading this last night, I was just reeling. I probably will have to get the hardback and tab it so I remember all these things later for the next book, whenever that comes out. But I enjoyed this writing. I might as well just pick up Shatter Me while I'm there because I'm still on hold at the library for Shatter Me. It's been, what, a month and a half now? And I'm probably going to have to do another 2.5 months. And by then, the Shatter Me exclusive edition by Fairly is already going to be out and probably sold out. So I need to go get it. Probably. From Barnes & Noble. Because also, it's pretty much sold out on lots of places. Shatter Me, I think, has been resurfacing because of Book Talk. So it's sold out in a lot of places, like the Barnes & Noble I went to was like one of the biggest Barnes & Noble in my area, and they had multiple copies of it, but you could see chunks where the other copies were that were just gone. Gone. Make your money, author. Make your money. I did feel like the love came off as insta love, but it was not cringy to me. It was more like this new experience, because they both never experienced like falling in love or like having someone they could trust, so it felt like insta-love-ish because I think it was clumsy for them as well. They didn't really know what was love and how to perceive it. So it did feel kind of insta-love-ish, but it also felt like it came from a place of like they understood each other through mannerisms and points of views more than they understood each other through interactions, because they didn't interact much in the book at all, which was so surprising to me. And that little hot and steamy moment they had, it was definitely YA appropriate, I definitely feel that, but it definitely was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Like, these two people desperate for connection with other human beings and something real and tangible. It gave me everything I wanted. I'm happy for it. I want to talk about how Alice literally got 2 marriage proposals in like 1 week. I cannot. She literally has these 2 princes proposing to her, like, you can have my kingdom, you can have my kingdom, we can have all each other's kingdoms. Kingdoms everywhere. This was very interesting because Alice has no kingdom. She is this long lost heir to the Jinn kingdom, and she has no kingdom to rule. She's a queen. And here they all are. Marry me, love me, become my bride. I just cannot deal. Imagine someone who hasn't been able to talk to people or have deep relationships with people are now having these grandeur questions presented to them, like, will you marry me for my kingdom? And she's very logical and practical about it, like, no, I'm not going to marry you for kingdom. I don't even know you. How is this ever going to work out? I love that. It wasn't like, oh, love conquers all. We can do this. No. It was, what are you thinking? You dum-dum. We can't do this. Snap. I love it. Since the Ivory Key was in the Illumicrate book box as well, I think that this book will probably be really good and keep me in the vibes. But I really want to read Shatter Me, and I kind of want to read the Colleen Hoover book next because I feel like I cannot escape the Colleen Hoover fandom, book talk, booktube, and I'm trying not to become spoiled, but it's becoming harder and harder and harder. So I think I might just read Ugly Love. It's on my shelf. I'm supposed to be saving it for something else, but I think I might just read it. I got Ugly Love from Target thinking I was going to read it later, but I might just read it next. Oh yeah, by the way, if you checked out any of my February TBR, it's already up. Ugly Love, The Ivory Key, Shatter Me, and This Woven Kingdom is not on it. I am such a mood reader. When I got the box from Illumicrate, I literally just started reading the book because I'm a mood reader. My February TBRs are always so tentative, but like all these books that I'm reading or want to read are not on my February TBR. Oh, I'm reading The Daughter of the Pirate King. That's on my February TBR. And I'm like 75% done or 80% done with it. It's a good book, but This Woven Kingdom stole the show. So while I was reading Daughter of the Pirate King, I picked this up and I never put it back down. Daughter of the Pirate King is actually still really good. I can't wait to get back to it and finish it before I pick up one of these or I run to Barnes & Noble and grab Shatter Me, because if I wait at the library, I'm not going to end up getting this book in time. I'm not. Libraries, I demand that you have more Shatter Me series, please. The people want it. They want it. That's why there's a 4-month wait hold, because they want it. Okay, y'all, that is my review for the Illumicrate January book box book. I'm very excited that the first book that I read from Illumicrate is a 5-star read. I really hope the rest of the books I read from Illumicrate steals my heart and it makes the box worth the money, because some of the items in the box really just have me cringe. I'm excited to read the Ivory Key to stay inside all of the vibes, but I have not read In a Marvelous Light from the first book box I got from Illumicrate from December. I probably will have to read that now since this one was so good. And that paperback, that hardback is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous hardback. So far, Illumicrate's winning. I tried a Fairy Loot book and I DNF'd it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this book talk. Have a great day. Remember, I'm here every Friday. Love y'all. Bye. Happy reading.